You are listening to In the Making with Mander. I'm your host, Amanda Roy, also known as Mander. And I'm so excited today here with my friend Mercury. We're going to talk about art.
Yes.
Hey, Mercury.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good. I'm a little tired. I was playing basketball past couple days and, not knowing my limits. Just a little tired today, but I'm feeling good.
All right. And you're
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Happy to be
You
here.
made it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, Mercury, tell us about Mercury. Who is
Damn.
Mercury?
Well, I like to keep things a little mysterious, but I will say that, yes, my name is Mercury. Legally, I only have one name, so that is my only name. Born and raised in Hartford, full-time artist, installation work mostly, but I paint, I do murals, do the traditional stuff. Um, and yeah, that's kind of it in a nutshell. I mean, there's a lot of nuance with me and my identity, but for the most part, I make art. I think about it day and night, and I do a lot of activism within my art and outside as well. But that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
Yeah. And we've like kind of known each other in the scene. And then last summer, that was when we like really met each other.
Mm,
And you were talking about artist housing and getting artists more space and how we can do that more in Hartford. And that's kind of how we connected. And we've been
yeah,
connected ever since then.
I mean that's a good way to connect. Actually, when I was just getting coming back into Hartford, I'd say it's like 3.5 years now. I've only been in Hartford like 3.5 years since moving around between New York and Massachusetts and a couple other places. Um, and I kind of started from scratch. I was working under a few different names in New York and in other places. That's kind of my MO. But like under my legal name, it's only kind of been 3.5 years, which is kind of nuts. I feel like I've done a lot of groundwork, whether it's activism or art. But yeah, when I had my friends at the time was like Danessa, Linda Luce, um, and a couple others, Joel, Cintron. Like, they were like, "What do you want to do for your birthday?" And I was like, "Actually, for my birthday, because almost never celebrate it, I was like, let's get together and talk about housing. I feel like it's the most prescient issue for artists anywhere. It's like affordable housing and like the conversation of equity, not just like, hey, let's have, artist studios and it's kind of cheap until it's not anymore. Like, I don't really want to deal with subsidy, this or that. Like, I want people to own their own things,
Mm-hmm.
and have a real say in a community. So yeah, I kind of, as I was, starting to make art in Hartford, I was also thinking about the bigger issues and housing. I mean, I can't think of a bigger issue. It's like everyone needs a home. I always think of, I kind of always think of, I might butcher this quote. I forget stuff often, but it's in the same vein. Like, I think of Malcolm X, and he always said, all struggle is about like land,
Mm-hmm.
more or less. And I don't know if it was part of speech or what the context was, but that always stuck with me. And the way that translates to me is that, land, because what does that mean? It's like land is like a home, like a basis, like stability. And without that, you can't really build like community. You can't build movement, And so I've always wanted that. Any circle, any community I was part of, I was always searching for that. Like either mentorship, peers that can look eye to eye and work on stuff with and really be seen, but also, all of that included is a home, to build something off of.
Yeah.
And, sometimes I found it or a version of it, but it never felt like quite it. And Hartford is a good place for me because I was born and raised. There's a particular like cadence and flavor that comes with being from the East Coast, specifically Hartford, or places just not New York City and Boston, because they just have their own like very strong identities, like, and people understand that it's worldwide. New
Mm-hmm.
York culture. So like, if you're not New York City, like, you have this particular way of doing things and going about things. So Hartford in so many ways, I feel makes me feel seen in that way. And so why not, like start there,
Yeah.
or not start there, but like take what I've learned and kind of work on it here.
And you bring a very unique style to your art. I mean, people ask me all the time, like, who are the innovative artists of Hartford? And I'm like, Mercury.
I appreciate that. Just that's it. Full stop.
That's it. No, full
Ha.
stop.
All
Yeah.
right.
No,
No, no
I say
more.
some other people I do.
No more podcasts
But
after
you're
this.
you're always on the list because you do something that's incredibly unique. You push the boundaries. You want to push the boundaries, and you care about Hartford, and you want Hartford to stand out for its creativity and its art. I know that's like a part of why you want excellent art here in Hartford because it exists, and we need more of it.
Yeah, I think I think thank you for saying that. I really appreciate that. You know, um, I'd sort of be like remiss not to say that there's a lot of ego in what I do. Like I try to be selfless and work for the community, but like I'm also proud of all the sacrifice and sweat and tears I've put into my work. And I always try to be innovative and push the envelope, no matter what I'm talking about or where I'm talking about it. Um, and I think any community, all it takes is like a few people to be feel inspired and be like, yo, let's get together and do the thing. And then that starts like a ripple effect and like waves, and people feel inspired. And if you make if it's a very specific like mode style, like people can see themselves in it, like there's pride in it, and that grows. And then before you know it, you'll have people not a part of a particular scene be like, wow, that's really cool what these people are doing. That's why I'm always pushing the envelope. If you're referencing, when you're making artwork in your community and you're referencing someone else's like style, or something that was hot like a few years ago, or you're just like rehashing an idea, that's fine if you're cutting your teeth with a medium. But like to build on, like you're just gonna look like a pastiche of someone else's culture, or and it just can look bad depending on where you're coming from. So you just like have to be careful with that. Like there's a lot of borrowing in art. It's like that's all, like that's all there is. Like you have to get it from somewhere. But at a certain point, you kind of have to just be like, all right, where am I in this?
Yeah.
And I just want people to feel confident to like, be a little loose with it, because Hartford is, you know, we get a bad rep for being like this, like just like the pit stop between Boston and New York.
Right.
And like I feel like like anyone's superpower is also their greatest weakness. So that's our weakness, but it's also our like a superpower, because we can kind of be like very malleable and gritty and tough, and kind of like be a little bit of like Boston type East Coast, but also be a little bit of New York type East Coast, and anywhere in between. And then like with the like heavy influence of like Caribbean culture, like obviously it started happening before the 70s, but like because of a lot of government programming, and also like effects of colonization, like you have like an influx of like Caribbean folks in these areas. So you have like so much cultures, like Puerto Rican, Cuban, Jamaican, like West Indian, and all the other like parts of the Antilles. And so there's like the fusion of language, food, dance, art. It's just like it's really beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can kind of go wherever you want with that. So it becomes like a superpower. You can
Yeah.
be sort of like a cultural chameleon and kind of pick and choose and still feel validated in wherever you go about it. And I love that. So I lean in that. And that's why my work looks like kind of all over the place, but I don't like to be boxed in.
Right.
Like with anything, whether it's age, gender, language, I like to push all those boundaries.
Yeah.
I think that's part of my job as an artist, is to question those things that are kind of like givens for certain people. You're like comfortable in that world, and I'm like, no, let's talk about this, or let's flip this on its head.
Yeah. Surprise people a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
And your
if you-
work does that. Because
I
sometimes
try.
it's unexpected. You might like drive around somewhere and all of a sudden you see something that you've done, and or you might see it in a coffee shop, or
Yeah, I
it could be in a museum,
I
which you've shown in.
yeah, I've like I like to keep that looseness. Like
Yeah.
there's a few artists that do that and do it well in terms of like their ability to just like exist in so many like levels.
Yeah.
And but it is difficult. That is also my weakness, not going in deep with a particular style. Like, it can people it can be lost on some people and even myself. But I just, if I can't tinker, if I can't operate like a child, then I don't want to be. I'd rather not do art. Like I have to be curious all the time.
Yeah.
That's just like in my nature.
Yeah. Play is a huge part of my like art making, experimenting, play, and all of that, because
That's
otherwise it's
cool.
boring.
Yeah, no, you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. I
Yeah.
totally feel that. Yeah, you give that off too. Like I think that's why we get along. Kindred spirits.
Yeah.
Like really just being youthful, playful, and like pushing boundaries, and also, damn, not to sound like a quote.com, but like I think it was like a Tyler the Creator. I don't know if this is his or he said it. It's like create like a child, but edit like a scientist.
Mm.
I love that. Like
Mm.
be playful, be loose, but then like, be super tight with what you release, how you release it,
Yeah.
because that matters too.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Um,
love that.
yeah.
Do you want to share any of the work that you've created, or like
Hmm.
what you've got going on?
I could talk about like my work and stuff like that, but I think this is part of my work. But I think kind of what I've been dealing with lately is sort of stuff that isn't specifically like the art making process of my stuff, and it's kind of dealing with like authorship, copyright, stuff like that. I don't think that a lot of artists, at least that I'm aware of, are kind of dealing with that in like a place like Hartford. But it's something to be aware of because it's part of a bigger conversation. Like everyone should be able to make art and just do it freely as long as you're not really like hurting anyone or being too hateful about where you're going. Be critical, sure, but within reason. But that doesn't exist. Nothing exists in a vacuum. We
Mm-hmm.
have to live in this world. Like we have to pay bills. We have to deal with our own shortcomings as humans as well as other people's, and that's the reality. That's out in the air. When it's exposed, that's when a thing becomes real. And there's been a couple instances where my work was where it feels like it was ripped off. There's nuance to it in terms of like the people that are involved in the institutions, which I won't name, because I don't feel like this is the place to talk about those specifics. But there's whether something is legal or not doesn't mean it's right, especially in a small community like Hartford. So I think it's important to like be aware of what we're making. Just putting artwork wherever you want all the time and thinking just because you can do it, you should do it. So I think there needs to be, and this is part of the conversation, but like there needs to be like talk around like like a little bit of like ethics of like how
Mm-hmm.
we're going about it, because this is a small ass community. It's like everyone knows everyone's business, and you don't want to like shit where you eat.
Mm-hmm.
Like we don't have to love everybody all the time, but like have a little composure and compassion and understanding. So I'm trying to move with that while I challenge people that are trying to not really do right by me, like taking my work without permission, on top of that making money even after I've talked to them multiple times. So like that is a particular case where I just feel like I was slighted. um, and there's other broader conversations and more specific conversations, like for instance, like what are we making, like what's the most popular thing you see around in Hartford, like public art wise?
Murals.
Murals. I think that's a big
Yeah.
conversation, because it's very public. It's like billboard stuff
Yeah.
where you drive by, you see it, you don't
Huge.
unsee it. So what are you saying here? Who's making the work? Why is it here? And we have to. There's two reasons why we be careful with that, because like, is the person making the mural, are they the best person for that job? And who's picking the content? Is it the artists themselves, or is it
Mm-hmm.
the person with the purse strings? And that goes beyond just murals, but like, like, oh, like I want a mural and I want like three butterflies and everyone shaking hands. Like, first off, like, gross, like that's not like what we're dealing with today. We can say so many things and like, yeah, love murals, spreading positivity, but like, we're humans are complex,
Yeah.
and there's a lot going on, a lot can be said. So I just like, let's have some quality control around that, but also like be sensitive to like what is being painted in what neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
The second part of that is a lot of times these murals are quite literally like they herald in gentrification and changes into communities. I know this firsthand. It's not separate. It's not like, oh, this is just art and the other thing just happens to happen. No, it's part of it. It's part and parcel. I've seen it happen in Wynwood in Miami and in Bushwick in New York. And I'm sure it's happened other places, but those are my experiences and communities I've been part of. So it starts with developers being like, yo, let's make this place hot. This is in a nutshell. I know there's like a lot of, more conversations, a lot of moving parts, but it's like, how do we make this hot? Murals, right away, just murals. Oh, it's cool. Let's go take pictures of the murals. People become familiar. They frequent it in and out. Maybe the artists live there because the rent is cheap. It's like poor, working class. A lot of times people of color, like in Wynwood, Haitian communities, like pushed out and made to feel mad, uncomfortable. In Brooklyn, Puerto Rican, black, at least at the time it was happening. And those communities have had a complete facelift.
Yeah.
In a matter of years, I've seen Wynwood in that area go from this was just like abandoned industrial properties and like, poor working class and immigrant communities to like there's like a Louis Vuitton store. Like wild.
Yeah.
Wild.
180.
And so it can happen here. Like
Yeah.
we're lucky where Hartford has had a lot of people trying to do things and they just fall flat. But just look right over the border, West Hartford Center. Like, it's possible to change a thing, just put in a few stores, make it viable. You make a little district of shopping or what have you, and make it cute, and people will come. People have money here. People don't always want to go to New York or whatever to like shop. And now it's a destination. There's a Whole Foods. Not that that's like, like a mark of excellence, but it means that people got money. People
Yep.
are spending money, and now you've got like rent prices that look kind of like New York, which is gross. But whatever. I'm not in West Hartford. I'm over here. So I'm not saying that things can't change and you can't make a place safer or bring in jobs, but there is a more equitable way of doing things, or more mindful at the very least. So who's buying these properties? How are they going about it? And then also, why are you doing all these murals? Like, keep doing murals. There's a place for it, but like, understand that there's implications. There are. I'm not trying to sound like, like we're not doing like a Joe Rogan podcast here. Like, there are ulterior motives.
Yeah.
It's not. I'm not saying COVID is fake or anything like that. I'm saying that gentrification is real,
It is real.
and sometimes it looks
Yeah.
like murals.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just, and I have a lot of muralist friends, and I respect them, but I don't stay shut for no one. I speak my truth.
Yeah, and no, I appreciate it. That's why I love you, Mercury.
Oh.
You're gonna say it. But I just want to go back to something that you had said about like your work and feeling like people were, you know, I don't know if it's taking for granted the work that you put into it, and they were like, oh, I could just use this, right? Like, it already exists. I don't know. I'm just trying to think about like artists' rights has been something that in my day job I think about a lot, and trying to figure out how we make sure that artists can thrive here in Hartford, and how do we protect artists, because that kind of taking advantage of people happens all the time, and it happens in small ways, it happens in big ways.
I think there's multiple ways you can. It's situational always. There's obviously always the legal thing, but like I hate courts
Mm-hmm.
and lawyers and all that like kind of bureaucracy unless it's like some big corporation or entity like really trying to screw somebody over, then you need then there's a place for that. But like, within a community, like it starts with a conversation. Like first off, like you approach the individual. If you need help, if you need a mediator, like you have a conversation like, hey, this doesn't feel good. Can we talk about this?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's always first. Like when I did a little call out recently, that's only because that was the third time I had to speak to this person. After two times, I'm like, you know what? Like, I have to like look out for my well-being. You're obviously like just disrespecting me, and I think it's situational. So it depends on the situation, who's involved, and just always try to like hear everyone out and have some mediation and try to to a solution like that. There is a lot of precedence within art and art history with like how you go about copying someone's work, but if the artist is still alive, they're still working on their stuff and their stuff is being taken like that just because someone can do it or they have more resources to do it, like at least ask their permission, Like I'm not dead yet. I'm not that Grateful Dead. Like this person isn't like Fish going around like showcasing my music. Like I don't want a tribute band yet. I'm still making work. Like
You got plenty more time to
if
make
that
work.
was that
Yeah.
person's like intentions, I was like, okay, cool, respect, but like just you have my number, you have my email, give it to the person like trying to hire you to do my work. That's it.
Right.
And then ask if you want to be a part of it. And maybe I say yes, maybe I say no, but that's up to me.
Right.
And that's a way of circumventing a lot of the BS. Just talking to people, This is like going to do the cancel culture thing first or court and all that. You can save so much time and energy and bad energy that you can be using towards creating something and moving forward. Collaboration is real. You should always collaborate, but like check in with yourself and other people.
Because the worst thing you could have said was no, and then it just ends there.
Yeah,
Now it can
bro.
blow up into this whole other thing.
And the
Yeah.
thing is with me is like, is this a weakness or like a strength? Like what I was talking about earlier,
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm from Hartford. Like people forget that sometimes, and they're just like, oh, artsy person doing this and that. Like I could just say whatever or do whatever. Like, brother, I code switch a lot because I've had to in the art world
Right.
and like in academia. So I switch up how I talk around people in different ways. But I am from Hartford. I don't take bullshit. Like I'm gonna defend myself. The only two things I have with people is like respect my art, respect my family. We'll be golden. We could talk
Yeah.
about anything else. Those other two are off limits. You can just see a side of me that was before I got into art school, and I'd avoid that. I'd
Yeah.
want to avoid that. I want to make art with people.
Yeah.
That's it.
Respect your art, respect your family. I think that's fair.
Super fair.
That's not hard.
Yeah. Like
That's not hard.
I hate bullies.
Yeah.
I don't like people who take advantage of people. Even if I'm not like part of whatever's going on over there, if I see somebody getting bullied, I jump in head first because that's something I have to deal with defending my family and myself since I was a child. And I just like, I can't take that. I can't stomach it. I can't sleep. I can't sit still if I'm seeing this happen. So am I perfect in the way I move about that? No, but at least certain people are going to be known that like, hey, someone's standing up for me, and hey, someone's standing up against me because maybe I'm doing something wrong. And I think that's way more important than like, did I say the right exact thing? Like I'll worry about that later. I'll ask for forgiveness rather than permission.
Yep. So respect family. I think we're gonna leave everybody with that.
Mm-hmm.
Like respect artists' art. Respect their family. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
And ask for forgiveness. Not for permission sometimes. Sometimes.
Yeah, I
Mercury
mean,
says all the
within
time.
context, but like, bro, take more chances. Like
Yeah.
for real, like you have one life to live, and living in Hartford with the way people drive, it may be more true than not. So please, just make some street art, go dance butt naked in downtown, have a blast, and who cares?
Yeah.
You're not hurting anybody. It's just art.
I love it. Thanks, Mercury.
Thank you.
Thanks for leaving your imprint on In the Making with Mander.
Yo,
Yay!
thank you
Yay!
so much. I
Awesome.
appreciate you.
Yeah, you too. You too. Thanks for tuning in The Making with Mander. We got another episode that's going to come up soon.